Hi guys. I did plan on making a video today to talk about the events of last week and what led up to the events of today. Um, but first I'm going to discuss what happened yesterday. And I did make a long video yesterday and then I deleted it just because I was upset when I made the video. And I figured it was best not to post it. Um, Here I go. What happened yesterday? So first of all, to tell you sometimes what I do is I take two pieces of duct tape and I duct tape the door closed, the door and then the side of the door. And obviously it doesn't stop anyone from coming in. But what it does is if someone does come in, the tape is broken and the tape doesn't break, but the seal is broken, right? It's not sealed anymore. So, and they can't put that back when they leave. So that's how I know someone comes in. Like if I'm in another room or if I'm busy, I don't have to wonder, do they come in and do something? And I did get a door alarm online and that lasted for a while, but it's not working well anymore. I don't know if someone just broke it or I don't know what they did. You think that high tech is better when you're in a situation like this, and in some cases it probably is, but in other cases, low tech is probably the best thing you can do. All right. So, they did that. So what happened was, I was in the living room and earlier that day, I had, I opened the door to let someone else out and I had to do a few things. So then I closed it and I swore I locked the door and I sealed the tape back up. Well, then I left to do something in another room. And I don't know if it was a half an hour that I was gone or not. But when I got back, the tape was broken. The seal was off and the door was unlocked. Okay. So right away, panic because they came in again. And then rage because this is war. They're invading my home and my family. And there's nothing I can do about it. And they're boasting about it. Right. Um, and of course, the first thing I thought was, what have they done? And maybe they didn't. And then I thought, well, maybe they didn't do anything. They just did that to show me they could, to show me that they could come in and to create fear, to create fear as I was, so that I would always wonder what they did. Do I have to throw out all of our personal care products now, right? Because in the past when they've come in, who the perpetrators have, tampered with food when we weren't here. And this is before I even knew about organized stalking. And I thought that this was the psychopaths online who tracked me down. That's what I thought it was about before I learned that this was, about organized stalking. And what would happen is, I would come home and, unopened bottles of food that had been unopened would be opened. Food that had been left out would be back in the fridge. Food that was in the fridge would be left out. And of course windows would be left open. All kinds of things just to let me know that someone was here. It was crazy, crazy, crazy. All right, so yesterday, the door was unlocked, the seal on the tape was broken. Then I went into the bathroom and I found out what they did. So what I did was on the toilet paper roll, and forgive me if this is a little gross, but I'm gonna tell you what they did. Yeah. So on the toilet paper roll, there was still some toilet paper left. It was maybe about 80% finished, right? So I took a new roll and I put it. It was the sink counter on the counter sink by the other roll, by the toilet. Okay, I left the half roll or the roll that was almost finished on the roll. Okay, on the thing. So anyway, what they did when they came in is they reversed it. They took the almost finished roll of toilet paper off and put it on the counter and took the full roll and put it back on the roller. So they reversed that so that and they left they left the almost completed toilet paper roll standing up on the counter, right? I don't do that. My mom wouldn't do that. It's that's what they do. It's psychological warfare, right? It's meant to show the targets that they're here. Who the perpetrators are here. They're invading our home. This is warfare. This is warfare that we can't prove is happening, and because we can't prove it, we're not allowed to fight back legally. As they conquer us, as they invade us, as they take every bit of freedom, privacy, sanity, security, safety we have, they take it all. This is conquest. This is dominion. Instinct is to fight back. Once that fear starts to dwindle, rage builds. This is war. Okay? Instinct is to fight back physically if necessary, and we can't do a damn thing. And this is why you end up seeing targets go crazy. Okay? And that's what the organizers behind this sick program that we call organized stalking want. They want the targets to just snap because it isn't natural to be under constant attack like this, to be invaded, to have your home invaded, your family threatened, all of this, and to not fight back. This is survival. And they know that. But what they want is complete, whoever's doing this, they want complete dominion over all of humanity, to the point where we get used to being under constant surveillance, and I don't just mean physical, constant physical surveillance, even in our homes, but also even what we think. Okay, you can't think a thought that goes against your political rival without them destroying your life covertly, so you can't prove it. This is sick. This is not the kind of society that anybody should strive for. But they allow it to happen to people they don't like, and by allowing that, they create it. They make this normal. They normalize it for everybody. Anyway, and that's why, it doesn't matter if I don't like someone. I would never justify having this done to them. And if this was done to them, I would stand beside even my worst enemy and fight for his or her freedom from this type of warfare. Because it goes back to do unto others. We create a society where this is allowed. Eventually, we're all going to suffer for it. Okay, the masses who allow this, who allow themselves to be manipulated into letting this happen to other people and even going along with it, they're creating that Orwellian nightmare where nobody has any freedom left. Anyway, so that's what happened yesterday. And like I said, I deleted the video I created yesterday because I was just too angry. I needed to take a breath, calm down a little bit. Right, so today. So I went out, and I'm going to go backwards here because I want to save the best for last. I went out, and on the way walking to the bus, I was already a little upset because of something that happened earlier. So some woman walks by, and she gives the nose gesture, right? I'm not going to do it online because then someone's going to catch me doing it, and you know how that goes. You don't want to be set up. She gives the nose gesture, and I did my best to ignore it. Okay, on the bus, I made one stop. I had, it was, I had to get stamps and some other things. So far, so good. Then I had to go to the store. Some guy walks by, the same nose gesture, looks right in my eyes, makes the gesture, walks on. Getting a little pissed off, I leave the store. Okay, I had to make one more stop. Well, I didn't have to, and I probably shouldn't have. I figured I'm out. I don't want to cook today for anybody. So I stopped and I got something to eat for myself and for everybody else. And as I was there, I walked in, and the cashier, she looked at me, and then she stopped. She looked back at me, and then she looked away. She looked back at me. She looked a little worried. And then I walked up because no one else was there, and she made the nose gesture, and I ignored it, and she did it again. She just kept doing it until I responded angry. I didn't say anything, but I kind of I sighed a little. It was clear that I was a little upset. And so I ended up explaining to a guy there what COINTELPRO was and what's going on now, and that I don't know. I likened this to COINTELPRO 2.0, but truth is I don't know that the FBI is doing this. It might be someone else. We don't know, especially since a lot of the perpetrators do seem to have Russian accents, unless that's fake. Because this is one misdirection after another. It might not even be them. Even still, some people got a good dose of the truth, and even if they didn't act like the guy acted like he understood. But some of the women were laughing. Fine. They heard the truth. They can never say, well, we didn't know. Yes, you did. Yes, you did because you were told. Right? Okay. What else? Okay. Now let's backtrack. So what happened before I actually left? When I left the house today, before I actually got on the bus to run the errands, remember last week I said that help might be coming from a specific source, that I had met two people who might be able to help me, and I didn't say how, but I said I would find out next week if that help was going to come. Okay, today was the day I found out, and the help did not come. So what happened last week is, and they seemed nice, they seemed really nice, and I still think they might have been. I think the reason they didn't show up was that the organizers probably got to them too. Anyway, so what happened was they had told me to meet them at the same location, the same time today, and I did, and they weren't there. Boy, they weren't there. So help did not come. And, last week they said, all right, they made a promise and I made a promise, right? And they asked me to do something very innocent, very benign. It was absolutely harmless. So, nothing weird, nothing, nothing bad. So I did it, and I kept my end of the bargain. but they did not. And I don't believe, well, it's one of two things. Either one, it was a setup all along, or two, the organizers got to them. And I believe that the organizers got to them. And I told them last week before I left, they're going to infiltrate. They're going to try to interfere with this. And one of the guys said, don't worry, don't worry. And I said, well, they'll follow, they'll interfere. And he said, well, if they follow you, I'll talk to them. I should have told him it doesn't work that way. Okay. When I say interfere, it's going to be covert. They're going to tell one lie after another. And at some point, they're going to convince you not to show up. Okay. And then I'm going to be left wondering, was this a setup all along? Or did the organizers get to you? Did the perpetrators get to you? I'll never know. Okay. And you'll always think something bad of me because you've been lied to. I should have told them that, and I did not. Anyway, so I told the guy at the store, because the guy who was working at the store, he was there last time too. And so I told him I wanted to wait for these guys, and I asked him if he, and he looked a little worried, I don't know. And I asked him if he remembered the conversation last time, and he said yes. So he let me wait. And I got there actually a few minutes. I was supposed to meet them at 11:40, and I got there at like 11:30. And I waited till at 11:50, and at 11:40, I said I'll just wait a little bit longer just in case they show up. And he said, and he said okay. But at 11:48, he kind of got up very abruptly, and he wasn't mean. He wasn't mean at all, but very abrupt and kind of, it's like he was almost like he was afraid. And he got up and said, okay, go now. Go now. They're not here. They're not coming. Go now. He wasn't mean, but he wasn't nice either. He didn't want to associate with me, and he just wanted this over. I don't know. And so I had 2 flyers with me. Sometimes I hand out flyers regarding organized stalking, and I intended to give it to the 2 guys, who I was going to meet there. And I left it. I tried to give it to the guy who works there and say, well, can you give this to them if they show up, and tell them I was here? And he says, okay, just leave it there. Just leave it there. He just wanted me to leave it there and go. He didn't want to touch it. Now, there were cameras there. So I'm guessing, they've got him, whoever's doing this has got him under almost, at the point of a barrel. Is he obeying at gunpoint? Maybe. Or maybe the psychological manipulation just makes it feel that way and he's afraid. I don't know. He doesn't seem like an unkind man, but today he was afraid and he just didn't want me there. And he heard the entire conversation last time. Last time when I walked in, I went to pay, and this is how I met the 2 guys. And I went to pay, and they were talking, and I stood back because I figure I'm gonna let them finish. And he said, "Oh no, come on, they're my friends. It's okay." Well, and so that's how. And then that's how I struck up a conversation with the 2 of them. And I'm not going to go into it right now. I'm not going to say what group they were from, but I might at a later date, but not now. But yeah, we started talking, and this guy heard the entire conversation. So today, I don't know. And I told him, I'm afraid that whoever's doing this to me probably got to them, and because they seem like nice guys. And he said, yeah. And but he didn't really want to engage me in conversation today. And the guy who worked there. So and the two guys never showed up. So yeah, he wanted me gone. So I left. I left it like 10 minutes after. And then I got onto the bus, and the rest of the day happened. But I think that the organizers just got to them, because what happens is, or it could have been a setup, but I don't know. It could have been, because what the psychopaths running this program want is to give the target a little bit of hope, just something small. They let us take a step forward, and then they knock us back 10 yards, right? To just crush hope over and over again until we just give up, right? Until we just give up. And, I think, at that point, that's when the targets either commit suicide or, go crazy and get themselves institutionalized or arrested if they don't give a damn anymore. And they start, the target, if they start attacking a perpetrator, that hopelessness is just that final crushing of the person. But I don't believe that's what's happening with these 2. I trust them. Anyway, before I cut this video short, I'm gonna end this video soon. I didn't want it to be that long. To the 2 of you who did not show up today, understand, I trust you. I trust you. There's always going to be some doubt. Whoever I meet, could they be perpetrators? Could this be a setup? But even though that little doubt is here too, I trust you. All right. Even if someone got to you and they're telling you lies, I know you're intelligent, and I know you're wise. Okay. And I know that you're gonna dig deeper here, and you're gonna find the truth. because that's what you were put here for. That's your job. That's your role. Okay? I know that you're intelligent enough to see past their garbage. You're wise enough to look to understand what's being said, and you're brave enough to stand up for those who can't stand. Really, and those who can't stand anymore. Okay? Your job is to be a voice for those who have none, to help those who have no help, to defend those who have no defense, those who are being lied about, falsely accused, treated unfairly, unjustly. This is your job to stand against that, and I know you will. Okay, even if every temptation, every instinct is to go along with this. Okay, they're going to play on your primal instinct. Primal instinct is to join in a massive group and to destroy, against some lone target. Okay, to bond in a massive group against a common enemy. You're above that. You don't act on animal instinct. You are way above that. You are above all of the animals in human flesh who are that manipulated by their animal instinct. Even if all of, and it's like with a lot of the perpetrators, they want to believe the lies about the target because they want to justify what they're doing to the target. Okay? So they'll believe whatever the psychopaths running this program tell them because they want to believe that. Anything that allows them to justify what they've done, what they're currently doing, and what they plan on continuing to do. Because, they have every reason to want to believe it. And very few reasons to want to believe the truth. Because again, their animal instinct is being catered to. They're in a group against one. They're bonding in that group. It's primal instinct at its worst. Okay? 2, they're probably being paid. And 3, they're afraid of what will happen if they go against the dominant group. So they want to believe the lies about the target. Any excuse the psychopaths running this program give them, they will eat up because they're looking for an excuse to justify going along with this attack on the target, to justify what they're doing to target, or even to justify doing nothing and allowing it to happen. None of us have freedom today because of the masses who just sat by and did nothing. Every single one of us, the reason we have freedom, and for many of us, the reason we're alive is because of those few who actually spoke up against injustice and acted. And that's you. That's your nature, because you're above animal instinct. Your role is to stand up against injustice. But first you have to know where the injustice is coming from, or that it exists at all. And that means you have to be honest with yourself. And I know in the end you will. I trust you. All right. So I'm going to cut this short now. And my next video will be I think I'm going to talk about the psychology of the perpetrators. Peace.